Well, hello there. My name is nirvgorilla, and today I'm going to teach you how to install your own World of Warcraft server with bots. This is the 2025 Debian 13 updated edition or revised edition. I've made a couple of videos about this. Some people have issues installing this. You don't need to know anything really about computers or anything or programming to get it working. We're going to use Windows 10 with VirtualBox and Debian 13 Linux. So all you got to do is follow the instructions. We're going to use some settings here. We're going to get everything working. Even if you got kind of a crappy computer, you can try it out too. I don't know how many more videos I'm going to make about this. You should follow, if you're going to follow this guide, you're going to want to just use my text document because I update that way more than I update videos. And things change in Linux. Instructions might change slightly here and there. And if that happens, I will update it in my text document first. This is just, I'm making a video just because for some reason, several people are once again having issues and it's just frustrating. So, but what you're looking at right now, these are bots and I'm running Molten Core in this. They're following my commands. They're helping me out. They're healing me. They're tanking. They're DPSing. It's like playing almost, pretty powerful versions of human players, but it's a lot of fun to play and I really like it. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start entirely from scratch here. First, we'll start with my guide. My guide is right here in a browser window, but you can't adjust anything here. We'll want to copy all of this by right-clicking, select all, copy. Then you open Notepad by going to Start and type in Notepad and paste there. Now you have a local edition, and we don't need the browser anymore. We can zoom in, we can actually type things here now because it's in a notepad. It might be a good idea to save this text file to your hard drive. Okay, I wrote all this crap out. If you want to read it, go ahead. I rewrote some of these instructions, so let's get started. Right about here, I will open VirtualBox, and we're going to hit New. I'm just going to name this Azerothcore. And the ISO image, let's go to Other. Let's select Linux, Debian 13. Now we have a new version here, 13.1. My instructions are now based on Debian 13. So if you have an older version of Debian, my instructions might not work exactly. I'm going to skip unintended installation, hit Next. I'm going to raise the memory up to 16 gigs or so. I'm going to put the processors at 14. You can do it lower, but it'll take a lot more time to compile if you do that. For hard drive, you don't need all that much. I'll put 24 gigs. That should be plenty. You can actually put as low as maybe 15 gigs, as long as you disable the logging and you follow my instructions where I show how to disable like database logging and things like that. All right, I'm going to hit finish. I'm going to go back up to settings. I'm just going to enable a couple things that are optional. System, let me hit processor. I'm going to enable this right here. And then for display, I'm going to increase this. I'm going to increase it to 200%. We're not going to use the VirtualBox window to manage our Linux operating system. We're going to use the Windows command window. So network, you want to make sure that this is changed to bridged adapter and select your current adapter on your Windows machine. Your network adapter, that is. You don't want NAT, you want bridged. And if you have network issues, you're going to have to figure that out yourself. I got a pretty simple cable modem, router, and that's it. Some people have multiple IPs with multiple routers and things like that. I don't know how to help you. All right, let's install Linux, and then we'll get rolling on here. All right, so here's the screen. I always select the second one. I don't use graphic install, I just use install. It's more classic looking. Since we're installing classic World of Warcraft, let's do a classic operating system install. English. I'm going to move this screen off a little bit. There. I'm going to name this Azerothcore. It doesn't matter, you can put any host name you want. I just hit enter on domain name. Don't put a root password here. Believe me, don't put one here. Just hit enter, enter. Now enter any username you want. I put nirv, and then I just put a simple password here. And I retype that simple password. And then I choose my time zone. The reason why you don't want to set a password for root is because you will not have sudo. And just believe me, if you don't know anything about Linux, just trust me. I've done this several times. And then you're going to ask me, hey, Nerv, why don't I have sudo? I'm trying to summon the command. I can't. You should have followed the guide. I told you. A lot of that is people skipping things, and I've rewrote this today. I rewrote some of my guide. I moved things down to optional. I moved other things up to mandatory. So it's pretty simple to follow. You don't really need the video if you know what you're doing. You should just be able to use the text guide only. So while this is installing, let me open up Windows Command. And if you don't know how to do that, hit Start, type CMD, and press Enter. Now this is the Windows command. All right, let's continue the install here. Some people had issues with the mirrors. Your Debian repository here is really slow. Like people who are in Australia, we're getting really slow speeds. I'm talking like 56K modem speeds when they were installing these things. It should not take you more than 30 minutes to install Linux. If it does, try choosing a different repository on that last screen we were just at. Okay, this is very important. On software selection screen during Linux, you want to use your spacebar to remove that first one, down, spacebar, because we don't want a desktop, we want a terminal. Okay, so scroll down to SSH, and let's enable SSH server, and then standard system utilities, and that's it. And then press tab to go to continue, and then press enter. We are not making a Linux desktop, we are making a Linux server, so that's why you uncheck those first two. And therefore, your computer resources go more towards the powering of the server rather than the powering of the GUI, the visual desktop. It's a lot of fun once you get it installed though. Yes, we want grub. Select the hard drive below. Yep. And I want to know where people are having issues. I don't know how so many people have issues with this. It seems pretty straightforward. There's infinite settings though. So let's hit continue. All right, we're done installing Linux. That's it for Linux. Now, we don't even need VirtualBox this window anymore. We don't even need this window anymore. I can minimize this after I get the IP address, of course, because I currently don't know the IP address of this. So let's log in as Nerv and then the password we gave. Now to get the IP, you type IP space A. And remember this and write it down. Oh, we don't have an IP yet, so we're gonna have to wait. Up, enter. Okay, now we have an IP. If you look closely, it's right there, 192.168.1.207. It's purple. So let's write that down. We'll just write it down right here. 192.168.1.207. All right, I'm gonna copy that. Okay, now we don't need this window anymore. I'm gonna minimize it. Don't close it, just minimize it. We're gonna connect to this using SSH. So how to do that is in your Windows terminal now, because this will be a lot faster and you can copy and paste. You type SSH, and then your username at, and then the IP address. So it looks just like that. Enter. Type yes, your password, and now we are in Linux now. We're using a Windows command window, but we're in Linux now. And this window is the same exact window as right here. See? It's the same. So, but we're just using our Windows PC to control it now. So now we can copy and paste commands from the text document over to this window. So let's do that. Let's change the password. Okay, I guess I gotta right click to paste it. Okay, now we just made, we just changed the password to our root account. So now we're gonna log in root as the guide says. Now we're in root, and we're going to take this sed command, paste that in, that's done. And we're gonna edit the grub file. We're gonna change that to 1 and that one is 0. Control S and then Control X to get out of that. Let me show you that one more time. When you're in like a file using nano in Linux, to save it, you hit Control S, that will save it, and then to exit this window, Control X. All right, it's kind of like Notepad, but for Linux. Now we're gonna update grub. That's done. Okay, all right, so here we go. We're gonna start installing. This is new to my guide. This is the proper way to install MySQL into Debian 13. If you try another way, it might not work. So this is the way to do it. First, you open up your sources list with nano, and then you scroll down to the very first green line right here. We're gonna change this word Trixie to the word SID. So I'm using my arrow keys to delete Trixie, and I'm gonna type the word SID. Control S, Control X. Now, we're gonna do this app update, and we're gonna get our MySQL, which we need to handle the database for all of our characters in Azerothcore. And a lot of people will have issues with this because right now, as of September 21st, 2025, there is no easy way to install MySQL on the normal Debian repository, which is why we just had to change it to SID from Trixie. All right, now we got to change it back. Now that we are done installing MySQL, we could prove it's installed by just typing MySQL. See, we're in MySQL. Exit to exit. Okay, clear. So we got MySQL installed. We're going to have to change that back. So we're going to open this sources again, and we're going to just change the word SID back to Trixie. Spell it correctly, don't mess it up. I just saved it and I left. All right, so now we're going to do this update. We're going to upgrade our operating system and packages. Then we're going to install a few programs or pieces of software. And then we're going to git clone here from this directory, Azerothcore. We're making a copy of the Azerothcore. Now this is very important. This is new too. After you get Azerothcore, we have to modify one script file to prevent it from installing MySQL. If it tries to install MySQL, you will have all sorts of problems. And I have not found a way around it, so you have to do it this way. But first we have to get Azerothcore, and then we can modify the script. Come on. Okay, it's done. We're going to edit this script all the way to the bottom. You see these last 4 lines right here? wget debian frontend sudo debian. Well, we're going to get rid of them by pressing the pound sign in front of each one so it comments it entirely out. That's it. 4 pound signs right here that we added at the beginning. Save, exit. Now, when we do the commands below, it will not try to install MySQL again because we already have MySQL installed. Okay, and then we're gonna get the playerbots module, and then we're gonna install a few more dependencies for Debian here. Okay, now installed the dependencies, and you will see it will successfully finish, because if we didn't take those 4 lines out, we would have all sorts of problems right there. Actually, before we compile, I want to install one more thing. Okay, now instead of compiling it right now, I want to install the auction house bot. I actually just changed that in my guide. So we're going to go to the modules folder. We're going to actually install that as well. The auction house bot will be a bot that we create that will post and purchase auctions on the auction house. Okay, so let's do the continue where we left off. We're going to do this, we're going to compile. Now I will skip the compiling here if we have no errors. Okay, looks like it's about to finish compiling. There it goes. And you'll see a lot of errors when you're compiling, but don't worry about those. As long as it hits 100% and you reach this point, you're fine. Don't have a heart attack about it. Don't have a conniption fit. It's fine. The errors are okay. All right, let's continue here. We will now make an adjustment to our MySQL. This is very important. If you don't do this, listen closely. If you don't do this, your hard drive on your little Linux machine here will fill up very fast. Because by default, MySQL makes these log bin files, like logs everything your database is doing, and those files increase in size very rapidly. So we're going to disable that. We don't need all those logs for what your database is doing. But we're also going to open this up so we can connect to your database from a local area network computer. Not the internet, just your local area network. And we do that by changing your bind address to 0.0.0.0 and your MySQLx bind address to the same thing, 0.0.0.0. Now don't make the mistake I've seen a few people make where they added like a fifth zero or an extra, or like a space, like 3 spaces before the or after the equal sign. Don't do that. It has to be exactly right. That's the thing about Linux. You can't make bumbling mistakes. 0.0.0.0. Okay, and then we're going to add that last line, disable log bin, underneath that, just like this, disable log bin. Save, exit, and then you restart your MySQL server by typing that. Okay, now we have to go into MySQL. I'm going to type clear to clear the screen. Okay, now when you see this sudo MySQL root thing, you'll notice that the prompt changes. And so now you're still in Linux, but you're inside of a program that takes different commands. Now we can take from this drop user all the way down to the exit, actually. You see that? You can copy from the drop user all the way down to exit and paste. And it'll do all those commands for you, just like that. Done. All right, we left MySQL. Now we're going to do the client data thing. We're going to follow the command here. And we're going to do this client data. That will download the client data and delete it. Delete the archive. I think it's a zip file or something, or a 7-zip file. So that's what it's doing right now. It's downloading that file. It will extract it to the right folder. It unzips it and everything. And then we're going to copy over some config files right here. When it's done, it's extracting. Now you need that client data. Some people you can rip your own client data from your own World of Warcraft disk if you want, but that's too much of a headache. It's just easier to download it. All right, so we're going to copy the config files. There's 2, and then there's 3 lines here. And then we're going to make a script ourselves. This is going to be a start and stop script. So when we start the server up and stop it, it's going to be very easy. You just type the word start and you type the word stop. It's way easy to start and stop your server. So we're going to start from the CD line all the way down to end of script. And that's okay. We could just save all of that into that file there. Now we're going to go to our aliases. The aliases in Linux, without getting too deep into it, it just makes some of our commands also a lot easier. We're going to paste out at the very bottom of the nano file. Way at the very bottom, I just copied and pasted all these aliases. I saved it, and I'm going to exit out of there, and then I'm going to do this bash rc to enact it. Okay, now we have commands. So if I type pb, enter, now I'm in the playerbots config file. Just like that. It's so easy. And we can make a bunch of adjustments there. But there is one more file I want to copy over from the auction house bot. There it is. So I'm going to copy that file by typing this. There. Okay, now, let's see, where the hell was I? let me just type PB, and I'm going to adjust the... I'm going to go down a little bit here, and I'm going to change this from 500 to 20 minimum, and then like 50 maximum. Just keep it a low... I'm going to keep it a low number right now. And we'll modify this later. All we're going to do now is type the word start, and then type the word wow, and press enter. Okay, now you can see the server starting up. Your server is now starting up for the first time. And it's going to ask you a question, and you're going to type the word yes here in a second. It is getting your entire database set up. Isn't it beautiful? And we will connect to it, and I'll show you that it works. And I'll show you how to connect to it too. Okay. Applying some updates. Latest and greatest. Now you type the word yes here. Enter. There it goes. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I have to modify this still. I'm going to modify that. But now we have to create an account. Where is the account? I guess that should be... I'm going to have to modify that. But we're going to create an account here named Nerv with the password banana. There we go. I'm going to set my GM level. You don't have to do this, but I just made myself a GM. We're going to create the username Auction House Bot. Okay. That's good. All right, that's fine. Let me log in first, and I'll show you the Auction House Bot thing real quick. So where was my IP? I know I thought I wrote it down. Anyway, let's get my IP. IP A. I'm going to take the IP. I'm going to copy it. Now we're going to enter the IP in the data folder in your World of Warcraft. Hopefully you got the 3.3.5 client. Data, ENUS, and then you open up your realmlist.wtf. And we're going to change the IP to our current IP on your Linux system. Now, when we open it, it should connect. Oh, I forgot one thing. Very important. We have to set the IP address in the database. So we're going to have to type stop the server. We're going to have to set the database IP, which is right here. I don't know why. Oh, I guess I missed that. Okay, we're going to go to the MySQL. We're going to change the rel name to nirvgorilla. And then we're going to set the IP address to 07. There. Now I should be able to connect by just typing start. There. See? We're in. See how easy that was? Now I can just invite... See, these guys are random levels right now, but I can set them all to level 1. See? I just invited this guy. Now he can follow and help me out. If I just start attacking this, he'll help me out. Watch. See? Cool, huh? That's WoW. This is self-hosted. And in the chat here, you can type commands too, especially if you're a GM. We'll just type .server space info. Let me unlock this window a little bit, make it bigger. There, you can see how many players are online. You can see the statistics, what your ping is. And yeah. So I show you how to set up remote play if you want people to connect to you remotely. But yeah, you can follow the guide now. You can change all your settings. I guess I could set up the auction house thing real quick. So I'm going, since I made the account already, account, auction house bot, and password is password. So all you do is you make a character named like AHbot, and you log in once and log out. I'll just log out. Okay. Now, you got to get your GUID. There we go. So, in this window, you can type lookup player account AHbot, and there's the GUID right there, 552. So, change this to 552, and now we can go to our auction house bot config by typing AH and pressing enter. Now you scroll down and it says GUID and you enter 552. We'll do that. And then you scroll down and I think you can enable and disable it. Yeah, enable seller, true. And then enable buyer right here, true. There you go. Then you stop and restart your server. And it should have some auctions on the auction house now. Let's log back in my main nirv. Okay. All right, we're logged in. Let's teleport Ogremar. And there should be auction house. Hypothetically, theoretically, there should be auctions now because of that auction house bot. It's optional. Again, you don't have to have the auction house bot, but a lot of people really like it because it's pretty realistic. See, there's auctions already. Cool, huh? Look how easy that was. Now, that's the basic how to get it running, up and running, World of Warcraft. It's very simple. I don't know why people are having issues, but that's how you do it on Debian 13. Those are the adjustments I've made. It could change next week. It could change next month. If you really are having trouble, follow my text guide. The video guide may be out of date very fast, just so you know. That's it. A lot of fun to play your own World of Warcraft server where you own everything and nobody can take anything away from you. You have full power. You can play with your friends or you can play solo or with bots, and you can add tons of bots here instead of just 50. You can add 2,000 if you want. All right, that's it. Bye.